Hello, this is John Lord here, and we're going to do some Chelsea chopping. Chelsea was 2 weeks ago, but we're always about a week or two behind. But before we do it, we're going to have a quick look at this herbaceous border, probably the oldest border in the place. Silene dioica is the double form of it, and I got it from Mrs. Jones years ago, worked in her garden, and I think she got it from England. I sold it, I used to sell it, and I've never seen it since for sale anywhere, so all we can do is give people little pieces. Great plant. And of course the Bartzella. Come in here, Sand. Paeonia Bartzella, and behind we have the Meconopsis cantabrica. I love saying Meconopsis. When people ask me about that, I love saying that's Meconopsis cantabrica. Oh, that fella, his parents had a few bob and were able to get him educated. But it's the Welsh poppy, and what we normally do is we cut it back and allow this lighter yellow to flower, and by the time that's finished flowering, that's back in flower again. But just never got around to it this year. There's actually a lot of, I'm going real trendy, you know, all this weed carry on and let it all hang out. A lot of the stuff here, that Knautia is self-sown. See it there? It's like a scabiosa, pinned cushion flower. That is self-sown. Polemonium is self-sown. Knautia is a great self-sown plant. It does really well in shade, not shady, sunny spots. The main issue with self-sown plants is you have to have discipline. If it's in the wrong place, take it out. What tends to happen is people say, "Oh, I can't weed that because it's not weed," so it ends up taking. You have to have a bit of discipline with them. The Sanguisorba pink thrush is coming up nicely. Now that's a self-sown geranium in amongst the Crocosmia. Now that is coming out, but I haven't. Gets a lot of mildew on its older leaves, so that is definitely coming out. But we let it flower for another 2 weeks, and then we're going to take it out. Actually, that's pink brushes there. That Sanguisorba pink brush is not. That's a different Sanguisorba. That's the early flowering one. I think it's menziesii or something. That's a different Sanguisorba. It's quite nice. Poppy finished. Now here's an interesting plant here. Now I don't use fertilizer very much, if you notice, in the garden, and there are people ask me why, and I say to them, "Is the Amazonian rainforest lush?" And they say, "Yeah." "Do they use fertilizer on the Amazonian rainforest?" "No." "Well then, why should I use it?" This was an exception. Very good way of knowing that that the ground needs nutrients by looking at the weeds. Now here is the willow herb. That's the size of the willow herb. So I think there's a little lack of nutrients there. That's a willow herb seedling. Now here's willow herb where there's more food. Now there's two ways of sorting it out. I could lift those erodiums up. That's an erodium. Really, really good plant. It should be growing much more, that particular erodium. There's two ways of dealing with it. You could lift them up, just dig the ground up, bit of organic matter in and put them back, or as I did, I got a tiny bit of artificial fertilizer, put it on. Now I have about a kilo of artificial fertilizer in the shed, and I reckon that will see me out. That's how little I will use over the next 2 years. So a little bit there, and already some of the willow herb weeds are getting a bit bigger. Oh, I love that. Aruncus Kneiffii. It's about the most elegant of all the Aruncuses. It's just gorgeous. It's really, really nice. If you can get it, it's hard to get. If you can get it. Can never beat thistles. Cirsium rivulare. We need to do a job here at Phlox, as if they're about 10 years and it's just got too big and it needs to be lifted. And every year I say I'll lift it and divide it and put it back, and it gets too late. We've never come across so many ash seedlings as this year. They are everywhere. And there's some other plant, Acanthus mollis. See it there? My advice with the Acanthus mollis, if you're planting Acanthus mollis, my advice to you is don't plant it. You will get it into your borders, you won't be able to get it out. It's only to put in a bed, we'd say in a lawn on its own, maybe with a few trees, where it can't bully any other herbaceous, because it will bully them all out. It is just impossible. That came with soil. There, we got some out. That came, when we built this border, the JCB man got soil from somewhere else and put it in, and this root was in it, and we've had it ever since. The funny thing is, the most beautiful flower, most elegant flower, but avoid it like the plague. And here we have Vicia. That's the vetch, field vetch, which should be dug out, but we haven't time, so we're just going to do the lazy man's way and just take out the top row. But I know that's there, and that has to be watched like a hawk, because that will take over as well. Now, this is interesting. That's the Aruncus, the ordinary Aruncus dioica, and that's Kneiffii form of it. See how nice it is. That's probably a bit of a bully there. Now, anyway, that's the herbaceous border, and here's where how we sell our plants. And all our benches are flood benches, which means we can flood them. So it's very hard when they get really warm part of the year to water on top, because you'll always miss them. So we just flood everything, leave it for about 12 hours and let the excess water out. And it's really, really easy. Otherwise, you would never be able to do it. And I don't like that overhead watering during the day, because I found the customers didn't like it, getting sprinkles, that was... Customers can be very demanding today, And look at this. I didn't plant that there. That's a Knautia, and that one has, look at that lovely red flower. It's kind of wrong there, but we'll leave it for the time being. And this is, I just planted these a few weeks ago. That's the Senecio something angel wings, and I don't know, everybody loves it. It's just, we get certain, funny when you're in the retail plant business, you get certain plants and you think they're great, you love them, and you put them, and you can't give them away. And then you get other plants, you just can't keep enough of them. That's just the way it is. So we just finish off before we go Chelsea chopping. It's a form of the male fern. Look how good it is. They've been really good. They did so well because of the earlier wet weather, the wet March and the wet April. That's why they did so well. Here's an interesting, that's epimediums. They're great ground cover in shade. There's one issue with them in the garden centre, very hard to sell them. And that's why you don't see them around that much, because nurseries don't grow them that much, because they don't get much demand from garden centres. They're mostly grown for commercial use. Unfortunately, I bought in 10 of those about 2 weeks ago, and the ones that are missing are ones I planted out there. Haven't sold a single one. But on the other hand, you will always sell Astilbes. And this one I particularly like. I don't know why, it's the colouring. It's called Spotlight. Is it any good? I don't know. And you have to look at Bowl of Beauty. It's one of the best of the normal peonies to get. And beside it we have Hungarian clover, which it's like a giant long clover. And people just love, this is one plant that people love for some reason. They just love it. I don't know why, but well, actually it is lovely. Now, Trixie, get out of the way, we're filming. I'll get you something later on. That's Brandon's dog. I gave her a piece of tripe yesterday, dried tripe yesterday. I think she thinks oh, stop! I think she thinks there might be more tripe on the horizon. Good dog. Now, Trixie. Now. But there's, this is interesting. That's what the Erodium should look like. See the difference? Now, we'll do the Chelsea chop. I've just noticed something here. We did this yesterday. We put new bark down. Heleniums, and you see this here. If you're gardening a long time, I just noticed a slightly different texture because it's a willow tree. See that in there? We don't want a willow tree. We normally Chelsea chop the Helenium there, but it's much weaker this year because it didn't like the very wet. It hated the wet March and the wet April and the wet early May, and now we're gone very dry, so it normally be that height and we Chelsea chop it, but we leave it. I just mentioned tall iris, very easy to grow. Iris orientalis, really, really good. It is a bit of a nuisance. It self-seeds everywhere. Look at the little bulby thing forming on it already. But you have to be ruthless, you have to take it out, or you will end up with a bed of Iris orientalis. It's nice. Now we're gonna the Veronicastrums, we have to Chelsea chop them because they do fall over. Now if we had another 6 weeks of dry weather, we wouldn't have to, but we've had, I think, 3 weeks of dry weather, which is very unusual for Ireland. And as you all know, in Ireland, if you get 3 weeks of dry weather, you have to be punished by getting 6 weeks of wet weather to kind of balance the ledger up a bit. Someone's not paying attention. Someone's going to look at Ireland upstairs and say, oh, they've got did the Irish get 3 weeks of sun? Oh, they'll lose the run of themselves if we turn on the tap, and that's what's going to happen. I'll be gardening in the canoe in the summer here. But anyway, it's the Irish people, particularly the old people. They always think if you get good weather, they're always very suspicious that it's been given. It's like you're being offered something really good by a salesman, and you know there's a catch. Anyway, this is Chelsea chop, and that's one way, the handy way. The problem with this way is you have to pick all the stuff up. Don't want it to fall through. And then with the Veronicastrum, if you look in close, David, see that there? You don't want that. You want to just cut it above the leaf whorl. Looks a bit unelegant, definitely, for the first few weeks, for a week or two, and then it becomes perfect. By the way, there's the dwarf Aruncus. Isn't it lovely? It's a bit like an Astilbe. It's not, what's it, Aruncus, oh, I can't remember the name. Very easy. Great filler in plant for front of a border. So that's the harder way, like this. We're going to go the lazy man's way. Behind we have the lovely Philippendula, Japanese one. Which doesn't need to be Chelsea chopped, never falls over. And as I say, like this. There's that. we always have to be careful when we're going into the border that we don't make a pathway, a noticeable pathway, because at the weekend the kids will use it for hide and seek, so we have to be careful. This Veronicastrum, walking carefully through the, that's the dwarfus, that's the Astilbe pumila, an absolutely brilliant front of border plant, really good, and that's a shortish, that is a shortish Persicaria. And we're taking out, I just noticed we have a ligularia in here. You can just catch it. That's Ligularia Pritzwalskii, and I originally had it here, and it's seeded everywhere. Don't plant that in your garden unless when it finishes flowering you remove all the flowers before they set seed. I've taken it out 5 years ago and it's still coming up, and so it's one of the nicest ones, lovely leaf, but it's not controllable. Now we do this Veronicastrum. No, will we get away? It's definitely not as tall as now. Look at the ligularia coming through again. Oh, get that later. No, that's the lazy man's way. You get it now. With a bit of Veronicastrum with it. All right, we're going to do a little bit. I think this is the white one, Veronicastrum Alba. If the varietal name is in Latin, it's an old name because you can't use Latin anymore for varieties. It's not allowed. You're on the internet. No, not really.
On the telly.
On the telly. Or whatever it's called. You know. Let me get this bit in here. And if you notice, I tried to get good textures. Look at the Sanguisorba and the Veronicastrum, very different. And that's Lemon Queen, I think. It's a perennial sunflower. Oh, and look at this here, weed. Get this out. I broke it. It's an oak tree. Kind of smooth out any idea that there's some human there, just in case. Well, that's that done. It'll tidy up afterwards. We'll move on. Every year, the last 2 years, that Eupatorium, Pye Weed, seeded itself in, and I keep saying I'll remove it. It's not supposed to be there, but it's a particularly good one. And if I move it now, it's gonna, so I'll move it in the winter and I won't, and next year I'll say the very same. That's a very nice Veronicastrum called Erica, and I'm very, no, it's gone. That's all I'm doing with that. We have two Solidagos, goldenrods, and they are terrible for flopping in our rich soil. This one is, I think it's Fireworks, and that's Goldenmosa, and they are awful for flopping, and they're the ones really that have to be cut. Very easy. And look what's happening here. The Aruncus are self-seeding. Aruncus are over there, and they all have to be taken out. I keep saying, oh, I'll take them out and pot them up and sell them, and then I don't, and then they're there another year. But they want to be moved. And here is our plant that I think could give trouble in the future. That's Persicaria polymorpha. Lovely, but I'm just a little wary of it. I think it might, it's the first cousin of the Japanese knotweed, and I'm just a little afraid. You know, if I had to, with something like that, I'd resort to chemical means to get rid of it. Because that's what they use to get rid of the Japanese knotweed. If I had to, but we'll give it a few more years to see what happens. It says in the book, in the blurbs, that it doesn't run at the root. But it is running at the root. It's starting to move out. You can see it. But it is beautiful. There we go. Now last year, when I was doing this Chelsea chop, I took about a third away, much more than this. So we'll finish off with this one. It's a self-sown seedling. She sells self-sown seedlings on the seashore. The seedlings she sells are self-sown, I am sure. And that's the lovely. That is the really nice Telectrum Delavei, self-sown, about the flower. What are we going to do with it? Going to remove the flowers. Terrible, isn't it? Because it will flop. Anyway, it has to take its punishment. I didn't put it here, it came itself. There, it's cut back, maybe. Always cut, when you're cutting back, I'll say that's always cut, just never cut there, because that stumpy bit always stays. Always cut there, the same for shrubs and stuff. It's just, it doesn't do the shrub any harm, whatever way you do it, but or the herbaceous, but it just looks better because you won't see that. It looks more natural. Because if you think about it, when the tractor in the winter time goes around the hedges, cuts all the hedgerows with a big flaily thing, and the hedgerows come back perfectly. So obviously the little flail thing isn't working out where to cut above a node, below just cutting everything. So nature's very resilient. Now we'll cut this one back. That'll finish it. I don't think we'll do it all. We leave it at that. See, we can do that with it, and a lot of it just goes through to the bottom, and then it's all right. We don't have to do. Do the Chelsea chop. Do it till you drop. It's like a what do they call those things? Wrap. Do the Chelsea chop. Do it till you drop. You never have to stop. Or as the customer over there would say, shut your gob and get on with the job. So that's it. Just finish off with something nice to look at. Look how bad it looks. And that'll be tidied up now. It'll be really nice. Just finish off with something nice. Let's see. China girl? Maybe. What does David Bowie say? I love my China girl.